Hey, it's Irina Pozan, and welcome back to the Career Cravings Podcast. This podcast has a simple mission. It's to help ambitious professionals like you build the career and life that you've been craving. Over the past 15 years, I've worked as an HR leader, designed hiring systems, led recruitment teams, and I've sat on the other side of the hiring table. I've seen what works in today's job market, what doesn't, and what separates those good candidates from the ones that actually land their dream roles. Now I'm bringing everything I've learned straight to you. Each episode is packed with actionable insights and tools to help you land your dream role sooner. Now let's dive in. Okay, so let's start with the absolute most exciting thing happening in my world right now, which is my free masterclass on April 10th is coming up. And I cannot wait to see you there. So behind the scenes, I have been creating new content on resumes, interviews, what's working in today's job market specifically for HR professionals, and how you can stand out and land your next role in 90 days or less. So if you are specifically an HR professional and looking to land your next HR role in the next couple of months, and you've been applying and something just isn't clicking, something isn't working, then this training is for you. And you can swipe up in the show notes and save your seat for April 10th. I only do this once a year, so I'm so freaking excited to see you there. And it's a whole vibe. There will be prizes. Also, I'm answering all of your questions live. So show up. I can't wait to see you there. And it's going to be so good. Have you ever felt like you are doing everything right? You're investing so much time in your job search. You're spending hours and hours on LinkedIn. You're applying to all the things. You're messaging people. You're trying to network and you're just not getting anywhere. Well, the frustration ends here. Hey, it's Irina, your host of the Career Cravings Podcast. And if you are stuck in your job search, the chances are that you're probably making at least one of these top 5 mistakes that I see over and over and over again. And your frustration ends here because I've got you. We are doing something that has never been done on this podcast before, which is starting a mini series. So over the next 5 episodes, I'm actually going to be covering the top 5 biggest mistakes that are keeping you from landing the role that you want. So here's the plan. Each week, I'm going to cover one mistake. This series is going to be different than the last set of podcast episodes because these are going to be quickie, shorter, spicy little episodes where I go super deep on one mistake because I know if you're here, it's likely that you're making one of these 5. So by the end of the series, you're going to have the clarity and the strategy you need to move forward to finally land that dream roles. And let's dive into mistake number 1, which is job seekers telling me, I've tried everything, when actually the truth is that you haven't. So how many times have you actually said that to yourself? I've tried everything. It's not working. And I want you to be honest here because the truth is that if you have tried everything, you would have already had the results you want. I say this with so much love because you are likely actually doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So this is what I want to really dive into today. This is very likely the pattern that's keeping you stuck. So here's what I see time and time again. It can look like tweaking your resume for like the 3rd time again and again and expecting a different result. Or maybe you've thought to yourself, well, I just need to send out more applications. And we're going to dive into this as well because it's unlikely you're going to get a different result on the next 10 applications if you didn't hear back on the last 10. Maybe you're thinking, okay, well, the last DMs to recruiters didn't work and I didn't hear back from the last 10. Maybe magically someone will respond in my next message and just hoping something will change when you're actually doing the same thing more and more. So we're going to break this down. If you're listening to this and you're like, yes, that's me, I want to share you're not alone. And that is exactly what all of my clients say when they come to me. So I want to share a really quick story that's going to inspire you about what is possible and make it real for you about what the next couple months in your job search could actually look like when you try a different approach. Okay. So I had my client, Hoyam, who came to me after 6 months of applying. She felt like she's tried everything. that no one is responding to her. She was tired of applying and applying. And this was a belief that was keeping her stuck in her search. So she had gone through 0 interviews in 6 months. Then we met for our one-on-one. And within 18 days, she had 4 different interviews lined up. She was finally moving to the final stages. And get this, Rolls Royce was one of the companies that had reached out to her for an interview. And in the past, she couldn't land interviews with any company. And then she ended up landing her dream job in just 1 month. She changed her approach, and then everything changed for her really quickly. And nothing else changed. The market didn't change. Her profile didn't change. She didn't change as a person. She didn't have different sets of experience. All of a sudden, she didn't become a better candidate, but how she approached her job search changed. And this is exactly what I want to break down in these series so that you can have similar results. How quickly things change with a proven strategy blows my mind every time. So let's get into what was the difference. From no interviews in 6 months to landing a dream offer and having dream companies reach out within weeks, what changed? She stopped doing the same thing over and over and over again. She didn't need more applications. She didn't need to go change her resume herself yet again. She needed the right approach, and this is what's possible for you too. So I want you to imagine this. Imagine all of a sudden you wake up, you check your email, you see recruiters reaching out for multiple interviews. In her case, it was 4 different requests for interviews. You walk into each interview super confident, knowing that you're a top candidate, knowing that your strategy is rock solid, that you have an incredible personal brand. And then in just a couple weeks, you're celebrating your dream offer. And that's what's possible when you stop, when you pause, you reflect on what's not working, and then you use a proven strategy. If right now you are telling yourself, I have tried everything, that is like putting blinders on in your own process. This is something that is sabotaging the way your search is going to go. And it feels safe. And it sort of lets you off the hook to be like, well, I've tried everything. It's the market. This is just normal. This is normal to never hear back. It's normal to keep applying for hundreds and hundreds of jobs and wasting time. But the truth is that that is the belief that's keeping you stuck. The truth is this, you've just applied to 100 different applications and you got no interviews for the types of roles that you want. Something's broken. And that's okay, because realizing that is the very first step. And that's why this mistake is first in these series. But what's not okay is letting that cycle continue and continue when it does not have to. If you've sent out 100 applications, your next 100 applications will look exactly the same. So if you sent out 100 applications and you didn't hear anything from the type of companies that you want to hear from, you didn't land any interviews, the truth is that if you do more of that, it's like pouring gasoline on the fire. So then say you apply to 100 more applications. What I know to be true is that your results will look exactly the same for the next 100 applications as they did for the last. So this is really important to put a stop to this before you waste any more time, because your time is your most valuable resource. So I have an action step. If you're driving, if you're walking, I want you to come back to this episode and do this with real data. I've got a tough question for you. Are you guilty of repeating the same action and expecting a different outcome? And I want you to pause whatever you're doing. You might be driving, you might be walking, maybe you're washing the dishes. I want you to really reflect on this and come back to this and ask yourself, are you doing the same thing? Are you doing more of the same thing that's not getting you results? And if so, I want you to stop because you're wasting your time. Here's what I want you to do instead. Pause and reflect. What is an action that you have been taking in your job search that's not getting you any of your results? Are you using a resume that's not working and just hoping that something is going to magically change and it just works on the very next application? If you have applied, let's say, for the last 3 months, what I know for sure is that the next 3 months are going to look exactly the same unless you make a change. So one of the most common things that I see is that people use a resume that's just not working. And when it's not working, they go back and update it again. Right? Let me know in the comments if this is you, if you've updated your resume multiple times. And the truth is that you have done the very best that you can. So here's a test that you can apply if you think you've been guilty of using a resume that isn't working for you. So if you've applied to those 100 roles, I want you to ask, have you landed at least one interview for the type of role that you're looking for? And if not, your resume is not working for you. So I want you to break down these key metrics. A good resume gets you noticed at least 10% of the time for the roles that you apply for, period. And as soon as Hoyam stopped using a resume that wasn't working, and she knew already that she tried her best, like she has used different tips from Google, from a friend, she had people look at it, but it just still wasn't working. And instead, she knew that she wanted to use a proven resume that actually gets the results that she's looking for. And as soon as she did that, everything changed. So ask yourself, if your resume is not working, let's break down the key metrics with this. So is it getting you interviews? And I don't want you to get the wrong idea. Once you do that breakdown and you're like, okay, you know what? I'm not landing the type of interviews I know I should be. So I know I need to change my resume. Now, the next mistake that I see more often is people go back and try to do the same thing again, which is update their resume themselves for like the third, fourth, fifth, 10th time. You have tried your very best to create a resume that gets you results. You've already taken everything that you know and all of the tools in your personal toolbox. But the truth is, this is trying to DIY your job search. So you're going back and doing the exact same thing again that led you here. So you already know you've tried your best. You have updated your resume. You've read every word. You're not even seeing what's really on there anymore because you have looked at it so many times. And I want to know, why would the fourth time you update your resume yourself be any different? What is different now? You've already heard the tips. You know it should have data. You know it should have these different elements, but something's not working. So this is what I call the Frankenstein strategy. It's taking pieces from Google, from friends, asking for tips, taking generic advice that just doesn't work. And you're trying to fit it all together and it's still not working. So going back and saying, I'm going to update my resume yet again is another way that this top mistake shows up. I've tried everything and I still can't get a job. And this is the type of trial and error that keeps you getting stuck for another 3 months and another 3 months as you're testing new versions of your resume. So I want you to take a moment and reflect. Is this you? Are you repeating the same patterns over and over and expecting a different outcome? Have you applied to the last, let's say, 100 roles, or insert any number, 20 roles, 25 roles, 40 roles, without landing an interview? And if you're like nodding along and you're like, yes, this is your time to pause. So you don't need more effort. You don't need to go back and try to update your resume for like the fourth time. You don't need to apply to another 100 roles with a resume that's already proven not to be working for you. I want you instead to use data, because data is everything. And what I know for sure is if you have tried something for the last 3 months over and over again, your next 3 months are going to look exactly the same. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. So you will continue to get the same results with the same strategy. And data doesn't lie. When you have a great resume that's actually working for you, it's going to land you interviews 10% of the time or more. My clients get a much higher response rate than that. And if that's not happening, it's really time to take a step back and not try to DIY it yourself yet again. So I know you've tried your best. You've tried to put together the very best resume that gets you results. You've tried your very best networking strategy that you know how to take. And if it's still not working for you, I don't want you to waste any more time, because I know that the cost of staying stuck is your money, the potential money that you can be earning in your new role, your confidence. Once you don't hear back for months and months, you get more desperate. So your confidence takes a hit. And I know that you deserve better. And the good news is everything can change with the right strategy. So you don't have to continue to be stuck here. And at this point, you have two options to move forward. You can continue to do what you've been doing, which continues to get you the same results, and cross your fingers and just hope that magically everything changes in the next 3 months, even though you've tried it for the last 3 months. Or you can use a proven strategy, which can save you months and months of frustration, and you can start seeing the results that you saw today with Hoyam. I also recently posted a video testimonial of her just saying like, I can't believe these are my results. And you can also watch it on my socials or on my website under testimonials. So I want you to ask yourself, where do you want to be in the next 3 months? Do you want to be in the same spot or do you want to be celebrating your dream role? And how important is taking the right approach? So here are some actionable steps that you can take today. 1, reflect on what is not getting you the results in your job search right now. Maybe it's your resume. Maybe it's your networking. Maybe it's your interview skills. Maybe you're landing a lot of interviews, but you're just not moving to the final offer stages. So where are you being stuck? That reflection is going to tell you so much on the next steps that you need to take. Identify what's not working. And then I want you to think about what is the one thing that you could do today to change how the next month goes in your job search. How can you pivot? The longer that you wait, the harder that it gets. And the moment you finally make the decision to make a change, everything shifts. And it's not about working harder. It's not about spending 4 more months or, 20 more applications, but it's about using a strategy that will actually work in this market. And the great news is that you don't have to figure it out alone. And I'm going to guide you through every step of the way in this series. And then the next action I want you to take is if you have identified that you're getting stuck either in the resume stage, in your personal brand or networking stage, or your interview stage, the great news is you can use the strategy that we covered today, break down the exact strategy in a 90-minute training that you can access in the show notes. And I want you to go through it, pen and paper, and really break down, okay, if the resume isn't working, here is what I'm going to do next. If the interviews aren't working, here is what I'm going to do next. And then you're going to create a plan to pivot so that the next 4 weeks look extremely different than the last 4 weeks. So that's your homework until next week when the second episode in this series drops on the second biggest mistake that I see job seekers make that keeps them stuck. Remember, your dream job is so much closer than you think, and I cannot wait to make this happen together. Hey, before you go, if you've enjoyed listening to today's show, I would love your support. Please take a moment to leave a review anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And here's the exciting part. I'm running a special contest and giving away a one-on-one session with yours truly. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it to me in my DMs. All of my contact info is in the show notes. I appreciate you so much, and I cannot wait to build the career and life that you've been craving together. See you next week.